Once again, we are taking some calls in this segment. It's been a long time since I've taken phone calls. We did it in the 8 o'clock hour. I want to do it again. I think this topic is big enough. I want to hear what you have to say. 602-277-5827. Looking for independence. And if you are someone that was leaning toward Biden or Trump, doesn't matter. And then all of this happened with the president. Is it something that's affecting your vote? Will it change your vote from what you've seen of the president in the last few weeks? 63% of U.S. voters see Biden and Trump as embarrassing. So the majority of the country still wishes they had two different choices. What if Joe Biden does what people think he might do and drops out? But what if Joe Biden goes up and he says, I tell you what, if you look at the polling numbers, neither one of us are very popular. Most people don't want me to run, nor do they want Donald Trump to run. I am willing to drop out of the race. I am willing to step aside for another Democrat candidate if Donald Trump commits to doing the same thing for the Republicans. And if Donald Trump will step aside, I will step aside. Let's get a sprint primary to the finish and see what happens next. I don't even know if it's legally possible, but if he did that, would that be something that would be helpful to him? But I want to hear from you. Let's talk to some people on the phones. Let's start with Paula. Paula, welcome to the show. Would this change your vote?
No, this would definitely not change my vote. If they both dropped out, I am personally Republican, but I was calling because my son is registered as a Democrat. He's only 23.
Okay. I think we.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
We lost you there for a second. So your son, is he going to change his vote? Is he looking at President Biden and concerned about voting for him?
Yes, he is changing his vote to Trump this year because of he's seeing the decline on the news. And we've taught both of our children, you listen to both sides and then you choose.
All right, I apologize, Paula. We lost your connection. Let's go to Hector. Hector, I appreciate you calling in. Will your vote change based on what you've seen of the president?
I think it will, Mike. Thank you for taking my call. I think I'm one of probably thousands, if not millions, of people who first time around voted for Biden, but it was more voting Trump out than Biden in. And I am a building inspector with Maricopa County right now, and I have a side business as well as an independent inspector. And since the administration started, my businesses dropped 90% in sales on the independent side. So I'm basically having to work a full-time job to make up for the company that I can't really run anymore based on the economics that we have right now. So my concern with Biden is that he's not thinking country first. And I think a president should have that in the forefront of his mind. And when he whispers that's not going to happen, it's more of a pride issue than thinking, how am I going to help or hurt these people if I stay in the presidency? So at this point, I'm scared to vote, and I'm thinking of not voting, which is pretty sad because as an American, I want to exercise my right to vote. I just don't have anyone to vote for.
Would you, does that mean you won't go to the polls at all? Does that mean you would just leave the presidency blank and you would vote down ticket for the other candidates and issues?
I don't know, Mike, to be honest with you. I'm leaning more toward Donald Trump because I have a family, kids going to college. And to tell you the truth, the economy was better when he was around. And I don't agree with a lot of things, pretty much like you say. You don't agree with everything about Trump, but when push comes to shove, I have to think of what's best for me as a bottom line. And when I look at Trump and I look at Biden, Trump is better, even though I don't agree with everything he's thinking about doing or his policies. But then again, I don't agree with everything of Biden either. So
yeah. Well, Hector, listen, I appreciate the call. I appreciate you sitting on hold, and I appreciate the input. Let's go down. Let's go to Juan, who also says he is an independent. Juan, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Is what you're witnessing over the last few weeks or whatever, however many time, are you concerned enough about the president that it would change your vote?
Oh, no, definitely. I will not vote for Biden. I vote for him the past time, but there's no way with what I see that I'll do it this time. Now, with that being said, there's and the way he lies, there's no way that I would ever vote for him. I'm definitely going to look at the other candidates. And I personally, I wish people would understand that the presidents don't have as much to do with the economy or the inflation and stuff that we're dealing with as they give them credit for. It's like the quarterback in football. You know, you give them all the credits for the wins and the losses, but it's really not just them. It's a lot of other factors involved.
Yeah, and I think you're right about that. I floated the idea, what if Joe Biden were to say he's willing to drop out if Donald Trump dropped out as well? Would you then take a fresh look at two new candidates and be happy with seeing two new candidates?
Yes, because like I said, I'm looking at the other two. I think it's Cornel West and I don't want to misstate his name, but
RFK Jr.?
The junior kid.
RFJ?
Yeah, RFK Jr.
Yep.
So I'm really looking at those two to figure out which one of the two that I'm going to vote for. So if these other two crazies get out of here, I would love that so that I can look at somebody that actually I feel can run the country that I love the right way.
All right, well, Juan, I appreciate the input. Let's go. Let's try to get at least one or two more. Let's go to Kurt. Kurt is an independent. Would what you're witnessing with the president change your vote, Kurt?
No, Mike, it wouldn't. And it for me, it's not nearly as much about Joe Biden and his cognitive abilities. I'm still not convinced that he's cognitively impaired. Yes, he's older. Yes, he had a horrible night during the debate, and he's made a few gaffes, which he's made for most of his life. But the bigger issue for me is the fact that Donald Trump is a 34-time convicted felon, plus convictions for rape, defamation, and fraud. His threats to close agencies like the DEA, et cetera, commandeering the DOJ and FBI, his retribution threats. It's not so much an issue with Biden for me as it is with Trump. He just scares the hell out of me, quite frankly. And I'm worried sick for this country that he is going to get into office and that he is going to carry through with the threats that he's made. Because if there's one thing I've learned over the years, it's that when somebody tells you who they are, you believe them. So that's my position.
Well, I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it, Kurt. Let's jump to Michael. I'm going to try to get some more in here. Michael, is your vote being changed based on what you're seeing from the president's actions over the last couple of weeks and months?
Well, my vote is, I was definitely on the fence, thinking, I'm going to see if I'm going to give him one more shot, see if he can pull this through. But what I'm seeing is just constantly, everything is, his cognitive state is just not improving. It's not going to improve. It's just going to get worse. And, it's just going to continue the same way. It's just going to keep going. It's going. And I do not want Harris jumping in there anytime soon.
So let me follow up with something. If the Republican candidate was somebody other than Donald Trump, would it make your decision easier to vote for the Republican candidate?
Yeah, you know what? I wouldn't mind Trump. You know what I mean? It's just like the guy before me, he was talking about, 34-time felon, whatever. You know what? Politicians are politicians. Don't turn the lights off when they're in the room. That's all I can say.
Yeah, and I think that's a valid point. And listen, this has been kind of fun. I love hearing these opinions from really independent people, and you can hear the struggle in people's voices. They are trying to make what they believe to be the most important decision they're going to make as a voter, and that is going to be for President of the United States. And people are struggling. They are struggling with the idea of what they're witnessing. So, again, I floated this idea. I don't even know if it's legally possible, but if the Biden campaign really wanted to work in some gamesmanship, if President Biden came out and said, I am willing to step out of the race for president if Donald Trump does the same thing. Poll numbers show that we're at a dead heat. Poll numbers also show that neither one of us are popular in our campaigns, that both parties would like two different nominees. So I will step aside if he will step aside, and let's see if some fresh blood in here, and let's go win these races. I wonder what that would do to America if that was possible and if he did it.
Thanks for watching the Mike Broomhead Show. Tap to watch the first season of Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast. You can also click the button in the middle to subscribe.